Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source. Great to have you with us today. We have a ton of former Vols on the show. Actually, when you weigh everyone, it's probably more than a ton of former Vols here. I kind of like it because usually I'm the biggest guy on set. I'm kind of dwarfed by some of these fellas. They're still pretty muscular and husky. Should be a fun show as we kind of talk about the state of the program, talk about the difficulties of breaking in new offensive and defensive lines, and also going to have a little fun, ask these guys about toughness. Who are the toughest Vols they played with? Let's just get right into it. First segment brought to you as always by our good friends at Phil Cobble Fine Homes and Land in East Tennessee. Nobody does a better job of connecting house hunters with their future homes than Phil and his team. They are a boutique agency ready to give you direct one-on-one help. Take a look at this property in the Fox Run subdivision of Farragut. Beautiful, 3,900 square feet. Open house today from 2 to 4. Open house at 12724 Jarman Road. That's the Fox Run subdivision. Phil Cobble Fine Homes and Land. You can find them online and find out more about all of the homes they have there. All right. Want to introduce some of the folks. Well, you know what? This is kind of a waste. Let's let a professional introduce some of these guys if we could. We have the voice of Neyland Stadium, Jeff Jarnigan, with us today. Jeff?
Here's your lineup for today. Former defensive lineman from Athens, Tennessee, Shazon Bradley. Former offensive lineman from Spring City, Tennessee, David Douglas. Former quarterback from Passaic, New Jersey, Sterling Hinton. Former defensive lineman from Knoxville, Daniel Hood. Former place kicker from Miami, Florida, Fawad Rivez. Former quarterback from Rossville, Georgia, Bobby Scott. Former defensive lineman from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, J.J. Surlis. And former defensive lineman from Lenoir City, Tennessee, Chris Wampler.
That's very good, Jeff. You're getting some practice in here. It was well done. Jeff will join us a little bit later. He and Sterling Hinton are going to talk a little bit about the game day experience and fan experience that they're working on. UT trying to pull out all the stops this year and really make it a worthwhile experience for fans over there. Let's introduce the guys who are on in this segment. Right over here, J.J. Surlis, friend of the show, been on a few times. Of course, J.J. played, what was it, 89 through 90?
88 to 92.
88, 92. Shazon Bradley was a teammate of yours, of course. Then we have Chris Wampler, who played 80 through 82. Is that right? Am I close?
79 through 82.
79 through 82. That's right. Close. I'm not even looking at my notes. I'm trying to do without notes.
You're great.
And right over here, Daniel Hood, who's the youngest of all of us, played 2011 through 2013, and what, about 19 different coaches you worked under. So
At least.
Good to have you here. Good to have all you guys here. You might have noticed all of these folks played defensive line at Tennessee. And the first segment I want to talk to you about is what is it like trying to break in an all-new defensive line? Because Tennessee, first time in 2 years that a team has had to break in every starter in his offensive line, every starter in his defensive line. What's it like from a lineman's perspective? If you're looking at all new defensive linemen, you're new, all your teammates are new, what are you thinking?
Well, you know, one thing to play in the SEC, you got to be ready at all times. What's kind of funny is I played as a true freshman at Tennessee along with Shazon. And you know, when you line up every day against guys like when you practice against Antone Davis, Charles McCray, you're going to get hit in the mouth real quick. So you got to be tough and ready to go every play. You got to attack every time.
And that's the key thing, you know, the attack. Don't sit there and wait. If you sit there and wait, you're going to go home with a mouthful of blood. You have to come off the ball. You got to come off hook and throw straight right hands right now.
How long did it take you to learn that, though?
It'll take you 2 or 3 days.
On your back. On your back. Yeah,
Here's the thing, though. They pointed out something. These guys stepped out there against some of the best offensive linemen to ever play at Tennessee. This group of defensive linemen who are stepping out there, they're going against newbies on the other side of the field, too. How concerned are you guys about this defensive line being prepared early in the season, at least, when none of them have really been out there together as a unit before?
A couple things happened. You won't, in practice, and everybody knows this, you usually don't go ones against ones. Okay? You usually goes one against twos or whatever, some other backups. So your look initially is not near what you'll see on game day. Okay? So you really have to prepare yourself more, and JJ and Shazon both played as freshmen, more mentally than you do physically. I mean, some of these kids are 5-star, 4-star, been good athletes all their life, but the mental side of it is so far above. anything you can ever imagine. And that's where they have to get ready, and that's the toughest part to deal with.
Daniel, you know these guys. I mean, you were over there with a bunch of them last year. Your thoughts?
I think they'll be ready to go because these are the same kids that they've been able to grow the past few seasons because they've not been playing. So it's not like they've been going against scouts every day in practice. They've been going against your Jawan James, your Zach Fulton, Tiny Richardson, every single one of them. And so they've been getting beat up, punched in the mouth for probably more than they would have been if they were starting. And my main reason I think they're going to be good is because of Coach Tripp. If you ever meet the man, you can see I think he's one of the best D-line coaches in the nation. And it's just incredible the way he's been having them play with the type of intensity and the passion they're playing with.
Let's flip it around then, okay? You guys are ex-defensive linemen. Let's say you're all 4 veterans on the same SEC defensive line. And you look across the line of scrimmage, and there are 5 new starters. Let's say it's September, all right? What are you thinking?
Fresh meat.
Yeah, you're licking your chops.
Yeah.
Actually, you want the coach to actually call a timeout and line all 4 of them up in the same line, so you be the first one to get all 4 of them. That's what you want to do.
Rotate it around. Thoughts on, I mean, are you looking at this thinking this is easy pickings?
As a defensive lineman, you're always coming out ready. And, you see freshmen in there, that's who you're attacking every week. And so every team in the nation is going to be looking at Tennessee's O-line thinking about, we can take this whole offensive line and make it, how we're going to exploit the game and win, because all of our strengths are on the outside right now. But I think they're going to be shocked with how well the offensive line is, because you got Crowder, who competed with James Stone last year for a starting spot. James Stone just barely edged him out. You got Marcus Jackson, who, he's new, but he also redshirted last year just to save a year. Our tackles will be the one point that I'm concerned about, just because you got a freshman that's starting right now, and then you got a walk-on turned scholarship player who's worked his butt off to get there. But again, it's not the same thing as having Antonio Richardson there.
Sure. I mean, anytime you would look at that and see a former walk-on left tackle and a right tackle who's a freshman, I would think that a defensive line, a veteran one. And that's the thing. The thing's going to be tough for this offensive line. This isn't the Big 12 where everything's offense. You're going into the SEC and you look at the NFL draft every year, and where are those defensive linemen coming from? The SEC.
Yeah.
So you're going to be facing a tough schedule. To me, when you look at that fact, one team in the last 2 years, that's 250 squads that have had to do this. I think that's going to be a really, really difficult role. It's interesting, though, the defensive guys here seem to think it's going to be more of an issue for the offense than you do the defense. So in the next segment, we'll have some offensive guys out here, and we'll see if they see it the same way or if they take a different tact. We'll bring out a bunch more of X-Vols when we come back. Whenever I say X-Vols, I get tweets and texts saying it's VFLs. We'll have a lot more VFLs in the next segment. Come on back on the Sports Source.